Okay. Hello, everybody. Wow, it's been a while since I've done a video. I suppose I could say Happy New Year, but it'd be about a month late. So happy belated New Year. Huh. So, yeah, I hope everyone's been doing fine. I have been okay. One of the reasons I haven't been putting out any kind of videos lately is, well, for a while there I had a fairly nasty cold that just wasn't going away. It wasn't anything serious, just a cold, but it was making my nose run. It was making my voice hoarse. It was making my throat hurt. So it wasn't really a something that would be conductive to doing anything with my voice. So I kind of stopped doing videos. Another reason would be that I just kind of got tired of Pioneer. It's not that I don't want to play Pioneer anymore or that I hate the game, but for me, after you play a game for so long, well, you just kind of start to get tired of it. And I was playing Pioneer for what, maybe 8 months? I don't remember, but it was a long time. And I just kind of wanted to play something else, wanted to move on to something different. So I ended up kind of stopping. No Man's Sky also played a big part in me kind of stopping with Pioneer. Because at the end of the year, and end of fall, beginning of winter, I suppose, there were a lot of No Man's Sky updates. You had the fishing expedition, you had the Halloween expedition, and there was the Mass Effect rerun. That was... It's been a few years since that was available, so I was heavy into that for a while. And of course, there's the end of the year expedition reruns, even though the only one of those I did was Adrift, because I missed that one. And I wanted the rewards. It gave out a ship, looked like something out of Mandalorian, as well as a paint job and this kind of ghost frigate. And the ghost frigate's kind of cool. It looks like a broken scientific frigate. It's a ghost ship. So I was doing those and just kind of moved on from Pioneer at that point. And I was also kind of feeling like playing some fantasy games at that time too. I went back to Dragon's Dogma 2, which came out early last year, in the spring I think. And that's a fun game. But I had put it down and picked it back up to just pretty much finish off what was left in the game. Because I had pretty much done everything. The only thing I had left to do in that was to max out a few characters, max out my characters, and maybe collect some of the end game equipment. And I did that. And that was fun. I like Dragon's Dogma 2. But it's short, and there's not quite enough stuff to do in the game. I mean, it feels great. I love the way the game feels. Putting together a party, going out into the world, and adventuring, fighting monsters. That's great. I love it. But the world is just so small. There's no real dungeons. There is just this overworld with a bunch of giant monsters. And that feels good, but I want more. There needs to be more. And Dragon's Dogma 2 doesn't provide that, unfortunately. So should Capcom decide to make some more content for that, some DLC for that, I'd love to go back to that, but at the moment, I'm pretty much done with that. I've maxed out just about everything, and it's really hard to find a reason to go back. I also played a bit of Dragon Age Veilguard, lots of dragon games. so I'm gonna mix the titles up. I know. So we'll call it Veilguard. And Veilguard was fun. That was the first Dragon Age game I ever played. So going into that was a little rough, because that's a game with a history, a number of prequels. So it's got this big lore dictionary, encyclopedia in it, to help all the people who might not have played before. And that was useful, but it was still like jumping into the deep end of a pool without being able to swim first. It was rough, but the game itself was okay. The combat was okay compared to Dragon's Dogma. It was a little light, I want to say. Dragon's Dogma gives you a huge number of skills to equip and use. But with Veilguard, you only get 3, maybe 4 if you count your ultimate to use at a single time. So it felt a bit underwhelming coming off of Dragon's Dogma. The good thing about that, though, is that as long as you weren't in combat, you were pretty much free to reassign your skill points, to go through the skill tree and reassign all your passives whenever you wanted to. So that was nice. Not being able to do it in combat meant that there were a few cases where I was fighting some big monster, some boss enemy, that was resistant to every single skill I had equipped. So it was just a huge slog. Not terrible, but not quite as fun as it could have been. But yeah, that's okay. That was okay. I went back to an older game called The Quest. And The Quest is really cool, but it's really old. The Quest is from a time when PDAs were the dominant portable handheld equipment. Yeah. So what, from late 90s, early 2000s? It's like you have an open world game poured into a grid-based dungeon crawler. So it's really cool. It's got all the trappings of an open world game, but you can only move in 4 directions. And that's an interesting take. And it's actually fairly fun. I find it fairly fun. It's on Steam, and it's on Android and iPhone, iOS devices, so you can play it just about anywhere. But because it's an old game, there's some gameplay elements that really haven't aged as well as they could have. And they tend to be kind of obtuse. And the more DLC you get into, the more obtuse these gameplay elements become. And because the game is so old and not particularly popular, it's hard to figure that out if you get stuck somewhere, because you're going through 10-20-year-old forum posts, and it's just a mess. It's fun though. I like it because you can pretty much do any kind of build you want. Almost any kind of build. You could do this meta-based game-breaking build, or you could not do it. You could role-play something. Last time I played on the computer, I was going through with a barbarian. Dual-wielding barbarian. Had nothing on but a helmet, a belt, and some boots. And he was going through just fine. That character was working just fine. But because, very much like Skyrim, there are some skills that, well, if you don't take them, they're going to make it very, very difficult to progress through some quests. In the quest, that's hard to say, isn't it? The quest, the game, in this game, a number of the quests require you to have persuasion skills, and without those you can't proceed. And my barbarian, well, he was strength, he was endurance, he's a fighter, not a talker. So he wasn't able to do those quests, and some of those quests are important to proceeding through the main quest. So it's unfortunate that happens, but yeah, that's just the kind of game it is. I like lockpicking in Skyrim. I mean, you could go through Skyrim without lockpicking, but you miss so much stuff. So you have to have this balance of role-playing and metagaming. So yeah, in that aspect, it's very similar to modern-day open-world RPGs. But yeah, those were a number of fun games. But I think I've gotten out of this fantasy funk. And I feel like going back to some kind of sci-fi games right now. You know, Pioneer, still not quite there yet. I mean, I might wait till Pi Day, because Pi Day is coming up pretty soon, relatively soon. Get a new version there, see what's going on there. That'll be fun. But I'm also in the mood to play something a little more modern. You know, something Elite-like, but is more modern than Elite or Pioneer. But isn't Elite dangerous? I've made my thoughts clear on Elite dangerous in the past. I'm not going to talk about it here again. So, I was thinking, you know, maybe X4. Now, X, I know, tends to evolve into this kind of empire building, this fleet management, big old strategy game kind of thing. But inside of that, there's still this flying, there's still this trading, mining, fighting. There's these elite elements, there's these regular kind of open world space elements, space game elements in there that are still kind of attractive. I played a bit over New Year's holiday, and I kind of find myself enjoying it a lot. So I haven't played it too much. I haven't touched too much into the fleet building or the station building. You know, I've flown around and done a few of the different starts, but I haven't really done a whole lot with the game. So one of the things that I'm thinking of doing is doing this kind of X4 Elite-like playthrough. You start with a small trader, not a whole lot of money, not a whole lot of equipment, and working our way up through bigger ships until we get to something huge, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not particularly knowledgeable about the game, so I don't know how long we could take that before some of the strategy and empire building elements become necessary parts of the game. But I'd kind of like to try it out. So I'm thinking maybe about doing an X4 Elite-like series. We'll think about it. But yeah, that's what's been up with me for these past couple months. I hope everybody else has been healthy and enjoying their lives. So, we will see you later. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And goodbye.